Hey everyone, welcome back to On the Fence Movie Reviews. I am Adrian.
And I am Rob.
Today we're going to be talking about Soul. Okay, so Soul stars Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey, and it's directed by Pete Docter. It's a film about a character voiced by Jamie Foxx named Joe Gardner, who is a middle school band teacher by day and an aspiring jazz musician by night. He's looking to get his big break, and then finally, when he does, he steps into a construction site straight down through the manhole, and then wakes up on the track onto the great beyond. Unwilling to accept that, he fights that and tries to find every way he can to get back to Earth. Rob, what were your thoughts of Soul?
So I really like this movie. I thought it was cute. I thought it was funny.
Okay.
It may be a I would say like a kid's kind of element for as far as like getting the funny out of the movie, but when they're up there and you got the younger souls, and like just all of them together kind of just like made me laugh, just how they were acting and how they did all this stuff. Just the whole, I guess, the concept of this movie, and kind of like what each soul had to do. It was interesting to me, and it kind of was like, okay. That's pretty cool. I like that. I enjoyed the chemistry between Joe and 22. It honestly, okay. So I'm not gonna, in no way is this a negative thing, but I'm not gonna say it's one of the greatest Disney Pixar movies ever. Okay. But it's somewhere to the middle of upper middle, kind of, right before great. And there's just so much stuff about this movie. I really enjoyed Joe's story as far as him being, struggling kind of musician, and his relationship with his mom, and just kind of their back and forth, and his struggle, and just kind of the whole setup before he actually goes to the great beyond and tries to get back. It kind of lays the groundwork for this movie and kind of gets you invested in this guy. And I personally, I play the drums, so any elements of music you're gonna throw in a movie is gonna kind of get my attention and get me in the feels, because I can understand someone's wanting to do something and be kind of craft their art and get better at their art, and just that part of it got me in. And then just the chemistry between, like I said, between Joe and 22, their story together, and just the stuff that goes through. And again, not to give you any spoilers at all, but just there's the second half of this movie, I feel like it kind of took me in a way I wasn't expecting, and I liked it even more for that. So there weren't too many negative things. If I can't really think of any negative things off the top of my head as far as for this movie, because I really did enjoy it a lot.
Okay. I feel a little bit on the opposite side.
Okay, all right. Let's do this. I want to hear some opposite opinions.
Let's battle. I thought it was fine.
Okay.
Like, I didn't hate it.
Okay.
But I didn't love it. And I wanted to. And I didn't feel as invested. I take that back. I really did like the Joe Gardner character. He was very relatable. And as you said, you played the drums. I play bass. And, being a musician, you kind of relate to those things, right. Like when he talks about getting into the zone, right?
Yes,
with the little girl who plays the trumpet, and and he kind of inspires her to be better and keep going, and those sorts of things, which, I think are the elements of the film that really work for me. And again, also the thing that Pixar is better than anybody at is their visuals. I mean, the colors, the textures, the things that they do and that they're able to do with their CG animation is like nobody can touch them. They're the best.
Right. Yeah.
But again, what I start pulling back on is it gets a little tricky when they start trying to like explain like the way souls work and stuff. It's not that it doesn't make sense, or it just didn't work for me. It just didn't like.
Okay.
I just didn't find myself as interested in that. And then like, and I know it's kind of geared for children. And the thing about Pixar is that they make their films both for children and adults. But
Right.
I feel like as for children, I don't know if the writers and the filmmakers, their idea was maybe to try to help answer the question for children when they ask like, oh, what's my purpose? Or, what, where do souls come from? That sort of thing. And they kind of just vaguely touch on it. And that's kind of it. So I know it's like a children's film, so you can't really like get too in depth or too theological or metaphysical or whatever. It just, I don't know. It just didn't really work for me. I just felt like, it's fine. Like, but I didn't find myself being like fully invested in it. I was like, there were moments that were like, okay, that's funny. That's fun. Like I said, the things that worked the most for me is when you see Joe on Earth and seeing all of his music stuff and his relationship with his mother and the relationship with his student. I can't remember the student's name, but and those are the things that worked for me. But then when he kind of meets with 22 and 22 is kind of like this, it kind of, I don't want to give it away, but there's a thing that's kind of holding her back from wanting to go to Earth and actually become a new soul. But like that, it just, I don't know. It just didn't fully work for me. It was okay. And that's just the way I felt about it.
Oh yeah, so, I know. I definitely, I can understand what you're saying. And first thing I thought of, as someone who watches a bunch of movies, it's just in my nature to see the good and to try and nitpick the bad. And it's like, well, do I like this movie because it's good, or do I like it because it doesn't do this and that? And I totally understand like what you're saying about like, oh, well, where do souls come from, and how does this work, and just kind of like the great beyond and the great before, and just everything they're kind of talking about in this movie. And and I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything. Some of the negatives I did have would be spoiler-ish. So that's why I didn't want to mention anything. But I just took this movie as a almost, because what you said earlier is Pixar makes their movies for adults and for children, because they have those funny things that kids are going to laugh at, but they have that meaningful story that adults are going to attach themselves to. And for me, I just kind of felt like this movie, whether souls, where souls come from, where they don't come from, what happens before and after, I just took it as like it was a good movie that talked about life and purposes and affecting other people and just different things. So that's just kind of how I took it. And when I say like I enjoyed it, it's because of that element where I could say like, hey, this movie, it does this in a good way.
Yeah, if there's anything as far as like good messages to be taken from this film, is to kind of look at life even to the smallest detail. Right. It's not just like I need to do something big in order to have value, but it's the little things, right? And I think even in Wonder Woman 84, there was a bit of that message where Steve kind of tells her that there's life all around and that sort of stuff. And so so it's funny that both of those films come out on the same day and have somewhat of a similar message. But if that was one good thing, I would take from that. But overall, like I said, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna want to go run to watch it, and I feel like older children will enjoy it, maybe like in the 10-11-year-old range, because I feel like younger children may not be as into it, but I feel like they'll enjoy it. I think some adults will enjoy it, so I would definitely say maybe get off the fence, check it out. And enjoy it. Like there's stuff to enjoy about it, but it's not my favorite Pixar film. And in fact, of this year, I would actually prefer Onward to this film, because that one came out in March, I believe, right before everything shut down.
Yes.
I don't know how you feel about that, Rob, but that, in my opinion, I feel like I like Onward a little bit more.
Well, and this is not to say anything negative about Soul, because I'm also gonna say that I would get off the fence and check this movie out, especially being if you have Disney Plus, you could just check it out for free. But no, I will agree with you, Adrian. For me personally, I enjoyed Onward more, but this is because of the whole adventure with the brother, and them trying to
Yes.
reconnect with their father, and so that it has different stories kind of thing. But for me, yes, I will say Onward.
Yes, I mean, I think both in a sense are kind of an adventure film, but Onward's adventure works so much more because you have that companionship between the two brothers,
right?
And the emotional punches work so much better. Whereas with Onward, it gets a little choppy in that.
You mean Soul?
In that third act? Yeah, Soul. In the third act of Soul, it gets a little, choppy and kind of like back and forth, and like on Earth, and then into like the I forget what they call it, that little like in between space, and then and then there's kind of like a convenient, like neat little like close it up happy ending.
Yeah. And that's one thing I would say
surprised because. And I was surprised because Pixar is not necessarily known for having a happy ending all the time, But so again, for me, it was fine. And again, I would say get off the fence because it is for free. It is already on VOD. So it's definitely worth a check. And because it does have good pacing, it does flow, it doesn't drag at all. It just, some of the things just don't fully work for me, and that's fine by me. But again, that's the thing about Pixar, because when you have such a high bar,
yes,
people expect you to get up here, and when you don't, it's kind of like a little bit of a disappointment.
I agree with you, Adrian.
Well, anyway, guys, thank you for agreeing with me, Rob. Well, anyways, guys, have you seen Soul? Why don't you comment down below and let us know if you agree with Rob and I. Do you feel a certain way about this film? Do you think it's great? Were you let down? Okay. Comment down below and let us know. And also don't forget to click like, subscribe, share, and also follow us on Instagram at On the Fence Movie Reviews.
And remember, we'll catch you on the fence.